Welcome to Who Am I Part 2. I'm a hot mess today. I worked all day at my regular job and in the heat, so it's a little bit crazy today. I wanted to elaborate on from a previous video about who I am. I told y'all that I was a single parent. When I became a single parent, my husband went to prison. My girls were 4 months old and nearly 2. They're 19 months apart. And my son was 6. They have different fathers, so they struggled missing their other parent in their lives most of their young life. My son's dad was a truck driver, so he was gone a lot. He would had remarried and would get my son on his regular visitations for like the summer or Christmas holiday, and he would try to come home, but most of the time he would stay with his wife, so he very rarely got to see his dad. My girl's dad was in prison. We moved 350 miles from my family down to where he was so that he could see his kids on visitation days. And of course they would cry every time they had to leave because they wanted dad to come home with them. So it was an emotional strain on me, a mental strain on me as well. So we were there for 5 years. I put myself through school full time on campus, 16 credit hours a semester. I worked 2 jobs most of the time, sometimes 3, depending on what I could pick up to make some extra money so that I could make ends meet for my kids. During that 5 years, my husband, who was in prison, started accusing me of messing around on him and not being faithful and doing all these things because he was locked up and couldn't see what I was doing. I didn't have time. I was going to school, working all the time. I had 3 kids, 2 in diapers. Didn't have time. Anyway, finally filed for divorce. He got belligerent with me while we were at visitation one day and scared me, so I filed for divorce. Divorced him. He got out, moved to Colorado where his family was. I moved back home. I'm still a single mom, struggling. I moved in with my mom, and we didn't get along very well at the time, so I lived in my car and temporarily in a tent with all 3 of my kids for a very short amount of time. Finally, I got on my feet, got a job, making good money, kids in school, and at 34, I had a stroke. I had remarried, and my husband at the time, when I had my stroke, I was in the hospital for a week. When I came home, he packed and left. I couldn't drive. I couldn't do anything. I was paralyzed on my left side, and eventually it all came back, obviously. I will apparently have to do a part 3, so come back and see me. Follow me.